Pinellas County is an amazing place to work and live because of all their parks and recreation facilities. You know, some of our students are not the only ones who've been exploring science in their natural surroundings. Some of our teachers have been too. Elementary science specialist Julie Poth shows us how some Pinellas County teachers spent their summers participating in the St. Petersburg Audubon Society, Dr. Harold Albert's Teacher Ecology Camp.
Today we are at Boyd Hill Nature Park Preserve in downtown St. Petersburg, a place I know really well since I used to be a teacher on special assignment here. Joining us today is the man who is my mentor, a legend around these parks, Dr. Harold Albers, a nationally recognized naturalist for whom the camp is named, who shares his passion for education. So, this is your heart.
I'm very passionate. I can think how I started, and you know, as a teacher, your greatest reward is to have a student in there who doesn't understand. You might say they don't get it, and they're frustrated. They probably hate the teacher, and things aren't going well. And then all of a sudden, through some little thing you do or something that happens, they're reborn and they understand what's going on. And they end up their last couple tests, the final tests, they get an A. And then the teacher can go home at the end of that session, feel like, you know, a person has been born into that field. And this is one of the things we hope with this class, that these teachers here, if you live in Pinellas County, it's pretty much a county that's metropolitan. And yet we have all these parks here and preserves that are meant for everybody to enjoy, but especially children. And
So you think it's important to get these kids outside?
well, it's everything. In the natural world, you learn more about what's the real truth in life and how it changes. The truth changes.
Is that a tree bag? Yes.
So that's a zebra longleaf.
Jeannie Murphy and Brian Lane run this camp. Sensing Nature provides environmental education classes throughout the Bay Area. They are both well-accredited naturalists and ecologists. Their goals are simple.
And it's wonderful for adults.
The St. Pete Audubon Teacher Ecology Camp is to allow teachers to gain professional development as well as to bring information back to their classrooms so they can share it with their students.
It's been a really great experience. We've been doing this class, the Ecology Camp, for 7 years now. And a lot of times the teachers, they move down here. They're not from Florida, so they may be fairly familiar with what's back home, but they don't know the native stuff here in Florida. So it's been really rewarding that they get to learn about it, and then they feel more comfortable bringing their students out here, because once they have a comfort level with the outdoors that is new to them, then they bring their kids out here. Then you start that whole cycle over and get the kids really involved. So that's been a really great thing.
Snakes might use the cavity, especially if it's too hot or too cold. Bats are another
We
species.
bring groups out here. We've done trainings like this for years now, and we always see something new. So you start to look at things, you learn a little bit, and the more you learn, you start having more questions and you keep learning. So I guess just to keep looking around and appreciating what's here. There's always something to find, no matter what time of the day you come out to places, but just to get that appreciation, that, you know, looking to see what the next discovery is.
One of the unique components of this teacher ecology camp is that the teachers are going to be provided with an opportunity to go to several different very Florida native habitats. For example, in this park alone today, they'll be spending time hiking through swamps, observing freshwater marshes. We're now presently in the pine flatwoods, and we're moving through the scrub habitat, which is very desert-like, and most Floridians don't see that piece. They see the beaches, and they might go to a park and see pine trees and hardwoods. So this park offers that diversity. But tomorrow, these teachers are going to be looking at coastal habitats. They're going to Weeden Island to look to see how is that different from what they're seeing here, and they're going to Fort DeSoto Park. So by providing this professional development to our teachers, that they can in turn help our students understand the importance and significance of not only the diversity, the biodiversity here, but also that this is part of their community, and that they own this, and that we want them to love it as much as everybody does. And what were some of the teachers' expectations in this professional development?
Well, I really wanted to learn more about the ecology and how I can teach children about preserving different habitats.
So when you go back to school and you're working with children, how would you incorporate what you've learned at these camps back in the classroom?
Well, I'm thinking that I need to really teach children more about the invasive species that are here on this particular park, as well as at Weeden Island, and then I need to also remind them of our native plants and how that really affects the native plants that are around in both Weeden Island and also at Boyd Hill. Another thing that I think that I'm going to also teach them about is the different birds that are in the different areas. For instance, we had saltwater yesterday at Weeden Island. We had wonderful, diverse birds there. And then here at Boyd Hill, we have a lake situation, so freshwater with some saltwater intrusion. And so you have a whole vast different bird population here as well.
So how does teaching kids about the environment help impact them as they continue through their years in school?
Well, I find it amazing that you just teach kids one little thing, such as like different type of leaf shapes, different shapes of the birds, the silhouettes of the birds, that they, as they go through their day, will actually tell their parents about the different birds that they've seen or about the different plants and actually be able to identify them. So I think that it's also important for the kids to listen as they walk through, because listening is really, really tough for them. They like to just talk, but listening is a great skill for them to learn while they're outdoors. And as they listen, they can hear all the different nature sounds and try to identify what is making that sound from just listening in that area.
I enrolled in this camp because I teach at Plum Elementary, and behind our school is Allen Creek, and I want to know more about it and what I can do with my students to teach them at a young age how to work with nature. And this is teaching me as well to embrace nature, to embrace what we have here in Florida, so it'll be around for generations to come.
And that's the goal of this camp, preserving the natural treasure that has been left by generations.
Absolutely. Pinellas County is fantastic. The people who were the early pioneers, they realized the importance of natural systems, and they really did keep a lot of the natural systems intact. Sometimes it's a little more isolated, like Boyd Hill down in St. Pete. It's an isolated jewel of a natural system amongst the downtown city. Booker Creek Preserve is 8,000 acres, which is huge for Pinellas County. We're the smallest county actually in size for the state, but we also have the most people, and yet we have got a remarkable integrity of the parks, the preserves, all the city, the county. We have even state parks here. So everybody working together, and the citizen scientists, the people that volunteer, they make a huge difference. The teachers being able to take this information back into the classrooms is fantastic.
And the classrooms and Environmental Education Center at Booker Creek are amazing. It also features a gopher tortoise hole exhibit where students and teachers can crawl through tunnels, making it a perfect learning environment for students.
Just a beautiful place, a lot of natural native things that are here, animals and plants, and it's just a fun place, pretty quiet, not a lot of visitors come out here, so it's pretty peaceful, just relaxing. Again, just going off with just how wild it is, because we live in a big metropolitan area and a lot of people, a lot of cars, and this is just a different place to come, and they really like that because a lot of them haven't left their neighborhoods.
This camp is really interesting to me because I teach at Eastlake Middle School. We have clubs in the afternoon, and I teach an adventurers club in which I do various different environmentally based activities. I take the kids outside, show them nature. We have binoculars, bird books, insect books, and this class really correlates with directly what I do, get the students interested in being outdoors. I've learned a lot about the local plants and animals that I didn't know were invasive species, and to really teach the kids about what should be here and shouldn't be here, and actually for the animals, how to find an animal or identify animals that are not native to Florida, which can damage ecosystems locally here in their backyard.
But rodents do have to continually gnaw their teeth back.
We'll visit these nature classrooms with students in the fall to see how they're enjoying their natural surroundings. I'm Laura Spence, and we'll see you next time.